Hello and welcome back to Something Z, and welcome to What If Deku Had a Crying Quirk Part 5. Last time on the What If, Todoroki won the fight against Izuku, so let's jump back into the What If. After the match ended, Izuku was taken to Recovery Girl to get surgery, since he was still very injured from the fight, and he still has permanent scars from the fight, and he was scolded by Recovery Girl not to overuse his quirk anymore, or it could be much worse. And when he met up with Ida in Ochako at the stands, Ida got a call about his brother, and he immediately left to go to the hospital. So we skip the rest of the matches and it will end the same with Bakugo winning. Hours after the event, Aizawa tells the class that they will have the next couple of days off so they can recover. So we skip those 2 days, and when it's time for class, Aizawa tells them they will have to come up with hero names, and he will show them the offer they got from Pro Hero to intern for. And all their names will be the same, including Izuku, since even though he had a quirk, Bakugo still bullied him about it for it being weak. And when they all came up with their names, Aizawa showed the class all of their offers they got. And in this, Izuku got more offers because even though he's reckless using one of his quirks, he shows that his crying quirk could be very helpful in certain scenarios. But before he was able to choose one, All Might came into the classroom and he brought Izuku outside and a couple of hallways away, and he told Izuku that his old mentor gave Izuku an offer since he thinks that All Might didn't do a good job training him, which Izuku accepted. So we skip to when class is at the train station, and before they all leave, Izuku and Ochako tell Ida that they are friends and that they could tell him anything. He then nods his head and walks to his train to Hosu. When Izuku got to Gran Torino's place and opened the door, he saw a small old man on the ground and some red liquid under him. But before Izuku could do anything, the old man got up, and the red liquid was just ketchup. Izuku then went to call All Might because he thought that Gran Torino was nuts. But before he could call, he saw Gran Torino going through his hero costume. Now serious, the old man tells Izuku to launch a smash attack against him. At first Izuku was hesitant, but he stopped when the old man started to jump around the room at high speed, and while Gran Torino was jumping around, he talked about how recklessly Izuku used his quirk. Izuku tried to go for a punch, but Gran Torino was able to easily dodge the attack, pinning Izuku to the ground. Then he talks about how All Might is holding Izuku back. Then he leaves to go get some food from the store. And while he was gone, Izuku thought about what Gran Torino told him, and Izuku did the same training in the alleyway to try and climb it, with little success. But he was finally able to figure out what Gran Torino was talking about the next day when he was told to heat up a pastry, and how he needed to heat it up equally. Then he uses one for all and spreads it through his whole body, and after a couple of minutes of standing still, he did full cowling for the first time. After a bit, Gran Torino tells Izuku to try and hit him again, and when Izuku was able to move, he was faster and stronger than he was before, but none of his bones got broken. And after a bit of time of the two attacking each other and bouncing around the room, Izuku was able to get a scratch on Gran Torino. And later in the day, Gran Torino told Izuku that they will be going to Tokyo, so he can have practice fighting other people other than Gran Torino. And while they were on the train passing Hosu, a Nomu with wings crashed through the train, and Gran Torino told Izuku to stay there, and he jumped out of the train, kicking the Nomu and bringing it away from the citizens. But Izuku didn't listen, and he jumped out of the train, landing on a nearby building. He then ran to where the fire was, and when he got there were multiple Nomus fighting some pro heroes. Then he hears the hero Manuel shouting for Ida, and after a bit of thinking, Izuku believes that Ida went after the hero killer. So he used full cowling and ran through Hosu's alleyways. After some time of Izuku running down the alleyways, he saw Stain standing above Ida, about to stab him, and Izuku jumped wall to wall, and before Stain could react, he punched Stain in the face. And Izuku tells Ida to get up, but Ida tells him he is unable to move, and that it must be Stain's quirk. Izuku then pulls out his phone and sends his location to everyone in Class 1A. Izuku then sprays his eyes with some of the onion spray, and while avoiding the hero killer's slashes, he wipes the tears around the alleyway, making it so no matter where you stand, the quirk will still affect you. Since only a small amount was wiped around, it didn't make you cry, but it made you have to squint your eyes. But since the hero killer is already good at fighting, he was able to do fine, even if his eyes were forced into a squint. And when he thinks he's finished wiping the tears around, he punches Stain in the head, but he was only able to land it in exchange for the hero killer to get one slash across Izuku's arm. And then Stain licked Izuku's blood, activating his quirk, and Izuku got paralyzed. And then Stain admits that Izuku is a true hero and he won't kill him, and then walks back to Ida to try and stab him again. But before he could get too close, a wave of fire is launched at the hero killer, who barely avoided it. And when Stan looks to see where it came from, Stan's Todoroki with ice in his nose to stop the effect of Izuku's quirk. And Izuku explains that Stan's quirk paralyzes people, and it takes the person's blood. And Todoroki and Stan then fight each other, and Todoroki uses ice pillars to block some attacks. And whenever he gets cut, he puts flames and ice around the wound whenever Stan is near. And when Todoroki was going to be hit in a vital area, Izuku uses full cowling and pushes him out of the way. Izuku then comes to the conclusion that the strength of Stan's quirk must be based on blood types, in which Stain admits that the conclusion is correct, and the two fight Stain, and they seem to be doing good, until Stain was able to get a cut on Zuku's leg and paralyzed him. Then Stain went to stab Ida, but Todoroki used a pillar to stop the attack. Then Stain went after Todoroki again, and when they were fighting, Stain was able to get a slice on Todoroki's arm, and it was around that time Ida was able to get back up, and he used a reciprocal burst kick to break Stain's blade in half, joining the fight. And after some fighting, Ida tells Todoroki to freeze his radiators, and it's around that time when Izuku was able to move again, and Izuku and Ida launched themselves at Stain at the same time, and Ida was able to kick him while Izuku punched him in the face. And while they were falling, Todoroki launched a wave of flames at Stain, burning him and knocking the hero killer unconscious. Then Todoroki makes an ice ramp and slides the two down slowly, and the three tie him down with some rope they found in the alleyway. And after some time, pro heroes came to the alleyway, and there were 3 students and native injured and a tied down hero killer, in which the moment he sees him, Gran Torino kicks Izuku in the face and yells at him about leaving the train. And before they can react, Izuku gets picked up by a Nomu with wings, and while the pros were standing there, Stain breaks the ropes with a knife he had up his sleeve, and he licks some of the Nomu's blood, paralyzing it and making it start to fall. And Stain ran up to the Nomu, jumped, and stabbed it in the brain, killing it instantly. He then talks about fake heroes, and how the only hero he will let beat him is All Might, and everyone around him couldn't move because they were paralyzed in fear, and he eventually stopped talking because of one of his broken ribs piercing his lung, knocking him out. So we skipped to the next day, and Izuku, Ida, and Todoroki were in the hospital, and that day, they got a visit from the chief of the Hosu police force, and Manuel and Gran Torino got a suspension on their license from the students fighting the hero killer without a license or permission, and he made a deal with them, which was if Endeavor got all the credit for being the hero killer, then they would not get any consequences, and Ida still has the nerve damage he got from the hero killer. So we skip to the end of the internships, and Gran Torino tells All Might that he needs to tell Izuku everything. And when Class 1A is doing their first practice back from the internships, Izuku shows the class his full Kaolai, surprising the whole class. And after the practice, All Might takes Izuku to the break room, and there he tells Izuku the history of One For All, and how he beat All For One a while ago, and how he is back, and possibly more dangerous than ever. And when Izuku leaves, All Might is scared that he could possibly not be able to help Izuku when the time comes. And that's where I'm going to leave the What If. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time on Something Z.